Hello and welcome to today's video. So this time we're going to be having a look at the rather fantastic OPPO Find X2 Pro mobile, and this is such a high-spec phone that playing emulators on it is an absolute joy. We will just start while I'm telling you some of the specs with the original PlayStation 1 Ppsspp. We won't bother with any of the lower end systems because it plays them all absolutely fine, as you would imagine. So the specs of this phone are quite incredible. It's got 120 Hertz Quad HD plus screen, a billion color display. One of the main things that you're going to absolutely love on it is the Snapdragon 865 Plus processor. Now that's the biggest thing which makes this phone apart from other devices in the high-end sort of smartphone bracket. It's just got such a great processor. Now, sadly, if you are in the USA, I don't believe that this phone has been released over there. However, if you want a phone with sort of similar specs, you need to be looking at the Samsung S20 Plus, Ultra, or the new Galaxy Note phones, which are fantastic as well. Now we'll just have a little blast of Bloody Roar 2, certainly one of the harder games to emulate on the original PlayStation. See how we get on with this one. See if we get any sort of slowdown. That screen just looks fantastic. I have turned the brightness all the way up, but I've kept the sound down because, believe me, the sound of this thing is phenomenal. As I said, it's a Dolby Atmos sound. Now, one of the other great things with this phone is it's got 12 gigabytes of RAM. Now, some might call that overkill, but it does mean that some of the later systems, such as, say, the Nintendo 3DS, have actually got a bit of power behind them now, and they're starting to run games pretty well. Just in case you're wondering, I've just plugged in an Xbox 360 controller with a little USB on-the-go connector, just to sort of do a bit of hands-off gaming, but I will do a bit of hands-on gaming just so you can see exactly what that's like as well. I know not everyone's got a controller handy. I usually use the iPega Red Knight controller. However, sadly, that particular one, this phone's too big for it. It's 6.7-inch screen, so it makes it a bit too big. So let's just do one more blast. As you can see here, it's playing absolutely fine, isn't it? Really quick, no slowdown whatsoever, as you would expect. Something like the PlayStation 1 now. And this emulator in particular, which is highly refined, can play stuff like this without any sort of incident. So this is the rather excellent Ppsspp emulator. So this runs the original Sony PSP. Now, I've not got millions of games on here, but I've got some great ones which I think are worth a look. I mean, they're just so good. I just love this system to death, and this is probably one of my all-time favorite emulators. I usually have a blast of Outrun because I just love the game so much, and it's one that we should be able to just dive quickly into. Absolute classic game this, and as you can see, the automatic settings for Ppsspp are twice what the original PlayStation Portable was set at, and this phone could easily handle it 4 times resolution, so you can make your choice depending on your game, but with my eyes, twice resolution seems absolutely fine to me. Do love a good arcade racer. This one certainly fits the bill. Never played Outrun? You're certainly missing out on one of the greatest racers ever. And personally, I think this was the greatest one that ever came out for the original PSP, although Ridge Racer 4 was very good as well. There we are. Great stuff. But let's try a game that's probably going to test it a little bit more, and that'll be the God of War. One of those fantastic games that really immerses you in the action, very much like the 300 movies. But as you can see, this is it's like playing a movie. There isn't the slightest hint of any sort of slowdown. And you know, this phone's specs are probably 10 times what the original PlayStation Portable was, if not longer. So you're not going to get any sort of slowdown whatsoever. This is the Ppsspp, playing the PSP. Let's get on with our next emulator. So this is Redream, which is the Dreamcast emulator. Absolutely fantastic EMU, this one. I really, really like this one. We'll just once again have a look at a couple of games. Here's a blast on Sonic. So as you'd expect, this is very fast and furious. Absolutely fantastic game. Typical fast Sonic action. Very much reminds me of Crazy Taxi. It's probably the same, some of the same developers worked on this. Absolutely fantastic stuff. And moves at a blistering pace. Absolutely blistering pace. If you've never played this game, it is what it is. It's Sonic. You know what to expect. It's great stuff. And I've not had any issue with any Dreamcast game I've played on this. It just runs superb. And that's what this phone is all about. The specs behind it are so vast that it's going to handle pretty much anything you throw at it at the moment. So this is Res, a very futuristic Tron-like game. And you control that sort of square on the top there. And your guy flies through this like Tron-like universe. And you have to shoot these enemies as they come onto the screen. It's a real great game, this one. And something quite unique about this, for sure. This is level 2, so you get some different aliens on this level, different bad guys to hit, and believe me, it does get much more hectic very, very quickly. But this is a real hidden gem of the Dreamcast, and definitely worth your time. But as you would expect, anything on the Dreamcast is going to play perfectly on this phone. It's just not going to have any issues, and Redream now is very, very highly refined. It's a great emulator, and one which is definitely recommended for a bit of classic Dreamcast play. So let's move over to some of the Nintendo systems now, and we'll have a quick look at the N64. So this is the N64 Emulator, Mupen. Fantastic emulator. Just have a look at one game playing on this one. Certainly a great little emulator, this one. It can handle all the big games, Goldeneye, Mario Kart, stuff like that. Quite like this one though, so for having a little blast. I generally like snowboarding games. And when you think how difficult the N64 was for many, many years to emulate, they have pretty much got it cracked now, haven't they? Certainly loved my N64 back in the day. Goldeneye definitely was one of my favourites. Along with Star Wars Pod Racer, I remember being very good as well. So this particular game is just a simple, this first course here is a simple downhill. You've got to try and catch up with your opponent and do a few little tricks at the same time. Just basically just to get you used to the controls more than anything. But as you can see, one of the main things is how quickly it's running. so you wouldn't say that there was any sort of issue with any sort of slowdown here. It just runs super smooth, and also no sort of jittering on the sound. You sometimes get that where the sound can be a little bit jerky. Not in this particular case. Let's have another look at another quick N64 game. So certainly Diddy Kong Racing was another one which was quite difficult to emulate for many, many years. And this one seems absolutely fine, I have to say. Never quite a patch on Mario Kart, but you know, it's good to have something a bit different. And quite short laps. And as you can see, it runs absolutely fine, this one. This is the Nintendo 3DS emulator, Citra. This is just playing a nice fun game called Gunman Clive. So we'll give this one a go, and then we'll have a look at, say, Super Mario Land and see how it manages something that sort of difficulty, because that is a hard one. Oh. Now I have to say, let's turn this down a little bit. The latest build of Dolphin is not great on Android. They've really mucked up. Unless you've got very, very specific controls, it just isn't working at the moment, which is pathetic, because I wanted to be able to show you examples of it, but until it gets updated, not even on-screen controls work at the moment, which is pathetic, isn't it? You have to have very specific controls with Gamecube adapters for any of them to actually work, which I don't really want to be doing. So that might be something I come back to in a future video once it's been sorted. I do love this phone for emulation. So once I've got that sorted, I'll do little videos on each different emulator, just so you can have a really good test of each one. But this is the 3DS playing Gunman Clive, but I think we owe it ourselves to look at least Super Mario, don't we? So let's have a look at that one next. It'll be interesting to see if the sound and stuff plays properly on this one yet. With such a fast processor, I'm hoping the performance is pretty good, but we'll see. Not perfect. Let's just jump into the game, shall we, and see what happens. So here's world number 1. So we just give it, a minute or so's play just to see how we get on. Feels like it needs a bit of work. Yeah, it does feel like it needs a bit of work still. But I expected that. This is one of the hardest games to emulate on the system. And it might require a little bit of tinkering with the controls a little bit. I mean, it is running to a degree. It's still not there though, in my opinion. This is still unplayable, certainly on the current systems. And there are ways you can play around with it here, but not bad for sure. So anyway, that's a brief look there at the OPPO Find X2 Pro, playing some of the more high-end emulators. Now I have tried the Damon PS2 PlayStation 2 emulator, and that app at the moment is so full of adverts. I'm just not even going to give it time of day. It's just disgusting, and you shouldn't either. But when a better PS2 emulator comes along, be sure to know I shall cover it on this channel here. But at the moment I would avoid staying away from PS2, Damon PS2. It works, but it's just so full of adverts, you wouldn't want to touch it in a million years. Anyway, that's it for today. I hope you have enjoyed today's video. Do please give the video a like and hit that subscribe button if you have enjoyed it. And look out for more videos on this great phone in the future. That's it for now. Thanks for watching. Bye.